Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And this is a very special divisional round edition of the State of the Saints podcast. And I know what some of you are thinking. TJ, why are you talking about the divisional round of the playoffs and the Saints got eliminated in the wild card round? Well, at the end of the day, I'm a big-time Saints fan and I'm a big-time NFL fan. So I thought that I would do a special edition of the divisional round, and I don't want to be petty and just say that the season is over because it's not. I mean, you still got teams that are playing. So I am going to give my predictions on who I feel are going to win the games this weekend. So without further ado, somebody hit that ESPN music for me real quick. Yes, sir. The first game, the Minnesota Vikings taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this game right here, I'm pretty sure that I speak for everyone in the Who Dat Nation. We don't have a dog in the fight. We wish they both could lose, but unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. We got the Minnesota Vikings who beat the Saints in the wild card round of the playoffs, and we have the San Francisco 49ers who lucked up, in my opinion, and got a win in the Superdome to get the number one seed. So, who is going to win this game? I got to say the 49ers are going to win this football game because I feel like the San Francisco 49ers are a better team than the Minnesota Vikings. Hey, the Minnesota Vikings had a really good game plan versus the Saints. I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. All they did was watch the Atlanta Falcon game and just replicated what the Falcons did to the Saints earlier in the season. And they did a really good job at executing the plan, and now they're playing the 49ers. But I think that it all ends in Santa Clara. It all ends. It's over with. It's done. Finito. Kaput. There's no way that I see Kirk Cousins. Oh, let me say that right. There's no way that I feel that Kirk Cousins is going to go to Levi Stadium and come away with a win. Okay, we all know. Let's just call it for what it is. Sometimes the Saints can make the most mediocre quarterback look like an all-pro. And I feel like that was just one of those cases. Kirk Cousins, his team once again, and they will end up losing. I feel like the 49ers have a lot of talent. I mean, they are loaded. And not to mention you got D Ford coming back, and you got Quan Alexander coming back as well. I mean, that adds to the defense. I just think that they're going to be a little bit too much for the Minnesota Vikings. I think this game is going to be a blowout. I think that the 49ers are going to dominate this game, and it's going to take more than Dalvin Cook in the running game to be able to stop the 49ers defense. So they're going to have to rely on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins to win them a game, and I don't see that happening. 49ers big. Moving on, you got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is me personally, I feel like this is going to be the game of the weekend. This is going to be the game that we are talking about because you have two teams that everybody knows what they want to do, right? We know they want to run the football. You have the Baltimore Ravens, who is led by the unanimous MVP Lamar Jackson. You got Mark Ingram. You got Edwards. You got those guys at the running back position. You got Hollywood Brown, Willis Snead at the wide receiver position. You got the two tight end sets that has been really successful for the Baltimore Ravens all season long. And not to mention the defense. No, it's not the classic 2000 Ravens defense that was just completely dominating everybody that they play against. No, it's not those guys, but they still have a really good defense. And I think the trade for Marcus Peters earlier in the season really helped their secondary. I mean, you got Jimmy Smith back there. You got Earl Thomas back there. I mean, you got some guys that are seasoned veterans that can get the job done. And you look at the Tennessee Titans. I mean, there's no surprise what they want to do. They want to run the football too. They want to run the football with Derrick Henry, a guy who had over 200 yards of total offense against the New England Patriots in a wild card round. You have a resurrected Ryan Tannehill, who is playing some of his best football he has ever played. And you have some big, strong, physical wide receivers in A.J. Brown and Corey Davis on the outside. I think that this is going to be a smash-mouth game. I feel like the defenses are going to show up. I don't feel like Lamar Jackson is going to do some of the things that he has been doing all season long. You know, teams play their best football in the playoffs. Well, they're supposed to. But I think that he is going to be able to do enough. I got the Baltimore Ravens winning this game by a score of 20-13. I feel like the Baltimore Ravens are going to get the job done, but I think the Tennessee Titans are going to give them everything and more. Going to be a very good game. I feel like this is going to be the game of the weekend. Next game is the Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. This game right here, the battle of the young quarterbacks. This is the Chicago Bears Bowl because I'm pretty sure every time the Chicago Bears watch these two quarterbacks play, Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, they shed tears because they decided to go with Mitchell Trubisky. Oh, them Bears, man. But nevertheless, these are two very talented quarterbacks. If you look at them statistically throughout the season, I mean, they're basically mirrors to one another. I mean, they put up almost like the same stats. Both of these guys are extremely talented, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be an exciting game. Deshaun Watson in the fourth quarter and overtime in the wild card game against the Buffalo Bills, I mean, this guy showed up and showed out. I'm still trying to figure out how did he get out of that tackle when two defenders teed off on him to get the ball to that running back to get that ball down the field. I'm still in awe at that play. And then you have Patrick Mahomes, a guy that has all the arm talent in the world and a plethora of weapons. I mean, you got Kelsey, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Conley. I mean, you got all these guys, Sammy Watkins. I mean, this guy has it all. So who is going to win this game? I got to say the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game. Look, it was great the Houston Texans got that win. I mean, it was probably the best game of the weekend in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I mean, Cinderella, the clock has struck midnight, and it's time for you to get home before everybody notice that magic pumpkin horse and carriage that you was riding in, that was actually a pumpkin from the pumpkin patch, and those two horses that took you to the ball were mice. And honestly, it was a good win by the Houston Texans last week, but let's be honest about this. They lucked up and got that win. The Buffalo Bills, they laid an egg and they Buffalo Billed all over the field. And just like Chris Berman says, no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And they definitely circled the wagon. So the Houston Texans, I mean, it was a good story, good game, but it ends. Too many weapons, too much talent on this team for the Kansas City Chiefs for them to get this victory. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to blow out the Houston Texans. I don't think it's going to be close. I think they're going to really get pressure on Deshaun Watson, and I think that they're going to shut down the running game of the Houston Texans, and the Kansas City Chiefs are just going to run roughshod all over them. That's just my opinion. I don't think this game is going to be close. This game might be like 35-10. A 35-17, a 42-17. This is going to be a blowout. And the final game, the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Green Bay Packers. Now, this game, it hurts my heart because we all know what would have happened if the Saints would have beaten the Minnesota Vikings. They would have been playing in Lambeau. And, the Seattle Seahawks, they got what I like to consider a pretty easy victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, the only thing you can say about them is that they played in the worst division in football in the NFC East. But the Seattle Seahawks, they are a good football team. They're a tough team. And they got Russell Wilson. And all I got to say is, in Russ, I trust. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this football game because, quite frankly, I think that the Green Bay Packers are two things: smoke and mirrors. I don't feel like they're that good. I don't feel like they're that talented. I think when you look at their schedule, you wonder to yourself, who in the heck did they beat all season long? Aaron Rodgers has been playing pedestrian. The biggest star on the team has been Aaron Jones, and we all know that the Seattle Seahawks can stop a running game. So I feel like if you shut down Aaron Jones and you enable him to do some of those things, those wide receivers for the Green Bay Packers aren't really that good. They struggle at getting separation. I feel like the Seattle Seahawks are going to use a lot of press coverage. And this is not going to be one of those games where if it's cold in Lambeau, the Seattle Seahawks won't be able to weather the storm. You got somebody like Russell Wilson who actually played at Wisconsin. So you know he's going to be excited about going back, playing in the state that he went to college. And you know he's going to really want to put on a really good performance. The Green Bay Packers are going to lose their football game I think that it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. It's going to be the third meeting between these two teams, and it's going to be a really fun game to watch. And I think it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens, and I know everybody in the media is going to be excited about that for the AFC Championship game. But those are my predictions. That's who I feel like is going to move on to the AFC and the NFC Championship game. But I would love to hear from you. Who do you think are going to win these games in the divisional round? Do you think that the Minnesota Vikings are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers or vice versa? Do you think that the Tennessee Titans are going to beat the Ravens or vice versa? Do you feel like the Houston Texans are going to beat the Chiefs or vice versa? Or do you feel like the Seattle Seahawks are going to beat the Packers or vice versa? Comment down below, like and share this video. This has been a State of the Saints podcast, special divisional round edition. Hopefully next year we'll be talking about the New Orleans Saints playing in this round. Till next time, all I gotta say is, who dat?